I'm going to move on now to the next one. One of the favorite panel discussions of mine. I've been really looking forward to this one, mainly because I'm very prejudiced. It's mainly, great panelists for sure, but it's actually the moderator that I really am looking forward to. My own colleague from NDTV, Manisha Natarajan. So call it whatever way, prejudice, discriminatory. I just totally like her, so I can't do too much about that. But this is going to be fantastic because she truly does a fantastic show on NDTV. And this is the first time I think that Manisha, you and me are going to do a merge panel. I'm not going to be on the panel, so don't worry about that. The merge panel is because you're going to talk about retail space and who's competing against you, my complete forte. The mobile phone, right? So it's a very interesting little thing that we're doing. We talked today about the fact that the most important tool in all retail right now is a 4 to 5 inch mobile phone. It's called the God device, and even in all retail, it is now being called the tool that will take us forward in every which way. You talk about the best malls, the real estate, that old thing that we used to say that there's only 3 things important in all kind of retail, and that is location. I think it's completely been disrupted by mobile. Doesn't matter what brand it is, though there are some better than the other. But that's for my Sell Guru show. But it's unbelievable to talk about the fact that this is how disruptive this market has really become. Property and retail, the best locations, how a mall should be run, all completely and totally thrown away to one side with the power of technology, online, e-commerce, valuations, the kind of things that are happening. So today, Manisha Natarajan is going to take forward a panel that is going to discuss, and I like the topic, from 40,000 square feet to 4 inches, a whole mall to just a mobile phone, the new retail spaces, reaching this space for 300 million shoppers. I'm going to introduce the panel. Anuj Puri, Chairman and Country Head, JLL. Anuj, may I have you on stage? Nikhil Chaturvedi, Director, ProZone Into and MD, ProVogue. Rajneesh Mahajan, ED, Inorbit Mall. Hi, how are you doing? Great to have you here. Abel Korea, CIO, Arvind Brands. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm sure all of you are here and we can find... Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Thanks you. Shivanandan Pare, Head E-Commerce, Trendin.com, Madhura Fashion and Lifestyle. Hi. Welcome. And Bhavik Jhaveri, Founder and CEO, Pretr.
And retail is changing dramatically. Consumers don't buy online because it's convenient. It's because the alternate is inconvenient. Change before you have to. The next 60 seconds will revolutionize retail forever. This festive season, bring your customers back to the store. Harness the power of online and offline. Redefine the role of your physical stores. Operate your stores at web scale. Introducing Pretr, India's first omni-channel marketplace. Onboard your stores on Pretr in a matter of days. No complex integrations. Sits on top of your legacy systems. Gorgeous interfaces. Easy to use and transforms your stores into mini delivery centers. Allows your customers to buy online and get delivery in 2 hours. Reserve online and pick up from store. Fit your products digitally if not physically. Delight your customers with in-store assistance like never before. Partner with Pretr today. Bookings open for retailers and brands. To start enrolling, log on to sell.pretr.com. Pretr, coming to your homes, phones and stores near you.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I think we've already lost the battle on the real estate space and brick and mortar. The film which played out was Pretr. And really the dollars, whether it's Wall Street Journal saying that, you know, it's the investors subsidizing Indian shoppers, but seriously, that's where the monies are to even play out AVs. But I'd like to start by saying thank you and a big thank you to Rajiv Makni. I'll try and make the session as lively as he does, or at least get 50% there. Topic is extremely interesting. From Rajiv said 40,000, that's not a wrong number, though the topic says 4,000 square feet to 4 inches, the new retail spaces for 300 million shoppers. The way I see it, brick and mortar or retail real estate space is currently having a very love and hate relationship with the online or e-commerce space. It's an affair which has started. They can't do without each other, especially retail. Brick and mortar can't do without e-commerce, but how are they going to actually woo the customer out there? What experience is going to overtake in the coming few years is the big question. So for all of you, because the panelists did not walk in as the names came up, so I'm going to reintroduce my panelists so everybody knows what point of view are they presenting. Extreme left is Rajneesh Mahajan, ED of Inorbit Malls. Then Anuj Puri, very, very well-known face, Chairman and Country Head, JLL. Right next to him is Abel Korea, CIO of Arvind Brands. Next to me on this side is Shivanandan Pare, Head E-Commerce Trendin.com, Madura Fashion and Lifestyle. Bhavik, he's already announced Pretr, so you know Bhavik Jhaveri. And on the extreme right is Nikhil Chaturvedi, Director of Prozone Realty and MD. Now what's really happening, everybody is talking about the fact that, look, it's the end of retail malls. Who's going to go? There's so much traffic congestion. If you can shop with a small little square on your mobile, which has now become the gods, should we just not just shut down all the malls? It takes so much time to go there. Should we not just shut down all the malls? I'm actually seeing a lot of heads shaking. Would you stop going to malls is the big question. But let me have first Rajneesh Mahajan to defend what's really going on. I mean, is retail real estate now, or malls, are they now no longer the cornerstone of shopping or a shopper's experience?
Well, I would like to look back 10 years or 15 years. When we had home theaters coming, we had better sound quality coming, bigger screens coming, Blu-rays, advanced technologies coming, we thought nobody will go to cinemas. And cinemas redeveloped from single screens to multiple screens, better experience, bigger than life, better food. And we are opening more cinemas that we opened ever in the country. I think what one experiences, what one feels, what touches your heart cannot be changed. You will always be wanting to feel special. You would like to feel privileged. You walk into a 5-star hotel and right from the security guard to the staff to the person you interact, they say good morning, good afternoon. And it's an experience. You feel privileged. You don't pay for the bed. You don't pay for the air conditioning. You don't pay for the shower that you have there. You pay for the experience. And you pay a hell lot of money to have that. I think malls will have to upgrade themselves. They have to bring out a different experience. And if we don't do that, any which way don't require to be there. But as long as we do that, customers will find value, they will find experience, they will find a reason to come there. And a lot of things are changing. The 4-inch screen has changed one big thing. Earlier we used to meet people, to connect, to update ourselves. Now when we go to our malls, we see coffee shops, we see food court. We see group of 6, 7 kids, youngsters, and they don't talk to each other. They're all on their mobile. So now you don't have to meet somebody to update yourself because Facebook tells you that this person was in Singapore last week and in Germany and he's planning to go to Macau next week. You are updated about everybody's life that you're concerned with. But when you're together, you're enjoying what technology provides you together. So the experience has changed, and life will keep changing. Social expectations will keep changing. The social fabric will keep changing. And malls will change. They will provide a different experience. And I think we will make many more malls because we are ready to make them now.
All right. But Anuj, the reality of the story is that there aren't so many malls coming up. They are under pressure. The numbers range from 300 malls shutting down, but I've been corrected and said that no, it's not 300 malls shutting down, but 300 malls which were in the pipeline have shelved their business, which is scary enough. You look at a US story and you've got many malls shutting down there. Is it an e-commerce phenomena or is it something different? I mean, are we just relating these two and creating a hype?
So it's very interesting, Manisha, and a few weeks ago, Nikhil and I, we were discussing, we said is that when we were 25-year-old, we went to private equity at that time. And private equity shooed us out at that time and said, well, you have to be 45 if you have to get money from us. Today at 45, when we go to private equity, they shoo us off because they say you have to be 25. So I think we're completely the wrong generation that has got caught out in this process. I mean, they show a photograph of a 25-year and says you have to be this. When we went 20 years ago, they showed us a photograph of 45 and we had to be that. So clearly it is, this is a very topical e-commerce at this point in time. Clearly there is a huge amount of money that is supporting the e-commerce, number of investors, both foreign and Indian, who've been supporting it, and it is really the buzzword. Economic Times dedicates 1 or 2 pages to e-commerce every day, and you look at the valuations and you're like, wow, the guy is doing 20 crores revenue with a 4 crores loss and makes a valuation of 1,300 crores. How does that math ever come up? But, again, then we are a 45-year-old, so we are perhaps more cynical than what we should be. But to answer your question, I think the 3 things, Manish, I would say is, one, both will coexist. I mean, I don't undermine the power of e-commerce. I mean, they are going to be champions. You see more mature markets and their e-commerce is penetrating and, it's 15, 17, 18% of the retail sales are coming in through the e-commerce. So I believe both are going to survive. Clearly in India, I feel that brick and mortar cannot be substituted. We don't have a Hyde Park. We don't have a museum. We don't have theaters. We don't have places where we're going to be able to take our families to. I mean, you shut your eyes and ask, where are you going to take your family on the Saturday, Sunday? The only thing is either to a relative for dinner or you're going to take them out to a mall to do the shopping. So I think more and more you're going to find that the people will want to move out. That's the first thing. Second is, whilst we say that in mature markets the malls have had a beating, that beating is not necessarily coming in from the e-commerce. That beating is coming in from the malls not having upgraded, not having invested, exactly what Rajneesh said, not becoming relevant into the market. And that's exactly what's happening with those 300 malls which were going to come into being, but they were not going to be relevant. They were either the size was wrong or the location was wrong, and they were advised really nicely by people to say is do not make a mall because it's not going to be relevant. And that's the reason that they've shut down. Not necessarily, I would say, e-commerce. E-commerce today, penetration, I don't know, Rakesh is sitting in here, will be what, less than 3-4%? Even lesser than that, 2%. So, it is not going to be that 2% can shut 300 malls. There has to be more than that. The last point that I would say is, Manisha, is that you need to still go to a mall to have that experience. To eat, you will need to go to a mall. You can't do it through e-commerce. Not all the time. You're going to get a delivery at home. To go and enjoy a cinema, a big Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan film coming in. I was reading in the papers that on Friday there's going to be a traffic jam in Gurgaon because there's a new film that is going to get launched, and it'll be a complete chock-up block, and people are going to the malls to have a look at it. So I dare say that e-commerce is going to completely eat into the retail real estate. But having said that, I don't think e-commerce is going to go away either.
Okay. Nikhil, so the question is, what I'm hearing is Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, blockbuster films and an eating experience. I'm not hearing shopping. So that's the big worry, isn't it? What happens to the stores which are there in malls, and with footfalls falling, the rentals become unviable, margins are shrinking, landlords are not being able to raise, or developers are not being able to raise rentals for last 2 to 2.5, 3 years, and inflation's still there to counter. So how do you get the shoppers back? So understand entertainment, what about shopping?
No, I think I agree with Rajneesh and Anuj to a very, very large degree. But I think the most important point to consider is whenever you're trying to get market share, you actually spend a huge amount of monies to get the market share. In 2006, 7 and 8, the retail industry was valued for, I've heard the same word in two different industries at two different times. In 2006, 7, 8, I heard it in the retail industry. In brick and mortar, it's a land grab going on. Right now, I'm again hearing the word in the e-commerce industry, it's a land grab going on. See, what happens is land doesn't stay. It shifts from under your feet. So typically what we are seeing right now is a whole phenomena of gaining market share and creating habits. So why is Uber valued? Because they've shifted the way I ever asked for a taxi. I just press a button and they've changed habits. What is the entire e-commerce industry trying to do is they're trying to change in habit. I was habituated to going to a mall and they're changing in a habit by saying that listen here, I can't give you the experience, but I can give you a price which is way superior and I can give you convenience which is much higher. Now typically I'll tell you that how this market changes. At that point of time, when I was doing a land grab, I was rewarded for it. As soon as that cycle changes, I'll tell you the next question which will come up in e-commerce. The next question which will come up in e-commerce is that your reverse logistics is 24%. And when you want to reduce your reverse logistics, customer convenience will drop to an abysmal level. The reason for that is that today, in a lot of places, the reverse logistics is almost 23-24%. If you actually put a cost to it, their cost is more than brick and mortar retail. And because I'm on both sides of this, so what will the investor want? The investor is going to go to the next step and say, I've given you enough money, you've created the habit, now can I see some bottom line, can I see something? So they will stop the reverse logistics. This business is about three things. Value. The e-commerce is delivering a fantastic value. Second is the experience. E-commerce has no experience. It's not a family place. The third is convenience. The convenience today is there because you allow me to return the goods. So in every house, including my house, I encourage my children to actually buy on the net. The reason is they call for size and 8, 7 and 8, whatever they want. They see the clothes. They don't waste their money on something which they, after 3 days they decide to send it back. So I know they're sure what they want. But the day the company realizes that they're not going to allow that, my children will not order it there. They'll say, I'll go into the store and I'll try it on because I don't want the experience of being stuck with any goods. So the market's going to change, is what I'm reading.
Okay, what I'm hearing, and I think Shiva, you need to step in here. And is that 4-inch shopping button on your phone all about value and not about experience? I think that's what I'm hearing from Nikhil. It's all about value, and value which is obviously getting funded by investors. Like that Wall Street Journal said, right now, American investors are paying for Indian shoppers.
So a couple of things, One is, I heard that, it's mobile. Actually, if you look at deeper, it's location, location, location. It's about consumers' location and being there. Right? That's what is the power of mobile. Right? So now there are two ways to harness it. One is the on-demand service, or O2O, the way the buzzword is across the world, which is Uberization of every service. Right? The other is to harness, for players like us, to harness our physical presence. Can we be there where the consumer is? If the consumer is around where we are, can we provide that service intelligently? The second point is in terms of, I've been hearing that, both will coexist. If you look at what Anuj said, that, in the Western markets, it's around 18%, 15 to 18% is the e-commerce penetration. But the beauty of it, why the valuation is going, is it's growing at 30% or 20%, while the retail is growing at below 2%. Right? So if you paint a picture for, say, next 15 years or 15 years or 20 years, the digital natives is moving there in a big way. Now, it's about experience only. Retail, certain categories will move away from retail. But certain categories will, for time to come, will remain in the physical world. Because you do not take your girlfriend on a date to a fine dining in online. You cannot do that. You cannot order the service online. But you're daily, if you're getting late from your office and reaching home late and your wife says she cannot cook, then you order it. So there are two different ways. That's an experience actually. If you ask a consumer, it's an experience that today through Tiny Owl or Food Panda, I can just on the fly before reaching the office, I can place an order and before reaching home, it comes. For example, Fresh Menu in Bangalore is a great service for office goers for afternoon lunch, right? So that's an experience. Reverse logistics is an experience. We are used to looking at consumers where the shopping ends the moment he pays the amount, right? At the store. But actually, whether we need to charge or we should not charge is a different debate. But otherwise, for consumers of the younger digital native generation, it's a great experience where online e-commerce players had to invest there to shift the habit. Would the habit go back? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone back from a category? Books, would you ever go and buy offline now that you're habituated to offline or to online? You would do that if you're in airport or in railway station, because that on-demand service is very, very difficult to fulfill.
All right. So you're saying that even a mobile shopping for the digital natives is an experience.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay. Would you support that, Abel? I mean, a brick and mortar brand like Arvind, and now you're looking at the digital piece. We've understood that yes, both will coexist. The question that I'm trying to get to the bottom of is, where will that experience be a wow experience, and how will a 4-inch button or an app make it a wow experience?
I think it'll still coexist. You're rightly saying that. One of the things that Arvind Lifestyle is looking at is that can we be relevant, right? And that's important because we are looking at generation gaps. Earlier used to be a decade, but now it is a year. My own son and me, we are almost a generation gap, right? And if we can be relevant for the millennial generation and not lose that business opportunity, I think we are set from my perspective. And in terms of consumer experience, it has to be a continuous journey. So if a guy has shopped on, let's say, goes to my website and abandons a cart, but and if he visits my front end, if I can have a technology that recognizes him saying, you've come to my store, but you abandoned a cart there, do you want me to show you something? That continuous journey is important to have a complete holistic experience cut across the channel, e-commerce as well as brick and mortar. So I feel that given, brick and mortar will still be relevant. There are certain categories where, yes, you cannot avoid, means the touch and feel of a fabric, the ability to try it out before actually placing an order. I think that part is something which omnichannel should be able to address.
All right. Bhavik, you're trying to bridge the two, isn't it? I mean, that's what Pretr is actually all about.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to one mall, but I want a particular thing. Pretr will tell me which is the store which will have that particular thing that I want and drive me to the store or enable me also to be able to order it online, either ways. So what was the thought process behind doing a business model like that? What was the opportunity that you recognized here or a consumer behavior that you recognized here?
So we come from millennium generation, right? So what happened was, while working with some of the largest retail chains and brands, our parent company Ambab provide technologies to such guys. We identified that it's the war out there. It's online versus offline, and that's not going to happen, or that's not how it's going to happen going in future. There has to be a coexistence online with offline. So probably I'll just make it simple. I'm sure we're talking around the same values, experience. So it's as simple as that. You have a roti maker at home, and you have maka khana at home. So given a choice, what you have. Use roti maker to increase the efficiency. You have a vending machine, a coffee vending machine, and you have a freshly brewed coffee. Is it about replacing a freshly brewed coffee with a vending machine? No. It's about increasing can I now have 20 coffees been made in a minute versus one coffee or something like that. So technology has to work as an enabler. So for me, it's not about 4,000 square feet versus 4 inches. It's about how 4 inches has been used or will be used in future, given that the experience of the next generation is all about those mobile, not only to probably allow them to buy online, but also when they enter into mall, do I need a 4-inch phone to identify which store I want to go to? Probably before they enter into the mall, Do I know which malls exist around me? Once I'm in store, okay, I like this particular product, but is there or probably I have a favorite brand in another floor, but I don't want to walk in and see if the same blue color stripe. I'll just click an image, and will the 4-inch tell me is that similar product available in my favorite brand or not? Okay. So technology has to enable and not compete with the business. Business has to exist the way it will exist. Maka Khana will exist the way it will exist.
Okay, fair enough. So I think the next question, Rajneesh, back to you is how, I mean, you can see what's going on, right? And malls such as yours, which have been very successful, I'm sure you're at the drawing board putting your heads together and saying, look, there is disruption and I need to preserve my business. What are the things that you're doing to reinvent that business and not lose your market share? Because you've got to start growing. This business has to start growing. As of now, it's flattened out. The mall business is flattened out.
If you go back and see when malls started opening in 1999, so we have gone through many cycles in 15 years or 16 years. Initially, the consumption was driven by novelty, then we got driven by prosperity, and then consumption behavior kept changing. And malls, every year, 10% retailers change, and you update yourself to stay relevant to the consumer. Earlier, it was done on the price point basis, the brand prestige basis, or the novelty that a new food and beverage restaurant brings in, or an entertainment brings in. Now, this relevance to the consumer will have to be corrected with a new aspect, which is technology. What is that consumer going to buy digitally more conveniently? So there are products, if you're looking at accessories in computer, the kind of depth and width required in the product category is physically not possible. It's expensive and it's getting obsolete in like 10 days time. You are better off putting that length and width of the product merchandise on online. You're stocking it one place, stocks is limited, reach is far superior, and it works well for that business. Books, I don't know why we say that books nobody will go back to buy from stores, but it's easy for me to buy a book when I know which book I want to buy. But if I don't know which book I want to buy, and I'm a browser, and people who read books one in a day, they have to see some books to realize which one to buy, which I can only do in a store. And across the country, the larger stores have shrunken. They have become a smaller size store, but they are growing. Year on year, there's a growth in book sale. More and more people reading more books. We are buying more books. And somebody said, buying or reading a book on digital is like drinking a wine through straw.
So what's the strategy? So what
the strategy is to find the relevance. You have to, now consumers will be coming for on-ground consumption. So the entertainment quotient in malls may go up. The indulgence may go up. The way we interact with the consumer may change. So we may have to provide more one-to-one services. We may have to engage in various different channels. We may have to use technology to update customer much more frequently for those who want. And we have to provide convenience which an online channel provides, where you can come, you can shop, you can leave the bags with us and we deliver home. So there are things that are learning from us, because there is a channel which provides conveniences which we never thought of, and we can incorporate them. So I think there's a change, the change will come.
So am I hearing that on the experience front, you still are ahead and you would continue to fight to preserve that experience?
So let me give
Not convenience, but the overall experience of coming to a mall.
So just taking from what Avel said earlier, that once you end your shopping, I provide you options to buy more. But in a mall, when you come out of apparel shopping, I provide you option to buy food. I provide you option to have coffee. I provide you option to go to an accessory store or into a movie, which is, you can't compare one transaction to an experience. Okay. So a mall provides you much more experience before and after you shop.
All right. That also brings me to a very interesting second phenomena which is happening. Pepperfry also looking to open a brick and mortar store, isn't it, Anuj? In fact, you mentioned that in one of the op-eds that you wrote. So I think even online businesses are understanding the importance of a touch and feel business. In some categories specifically, the other one would be, of course, your luxury goods and luxury apparel. Those are malls which even in US aren't shutting down. It's the low or the middle malls which are under pressure, but high-end malls aren't under pressure. They're in fact growing by leaps and bounds.
So I would say is two or three things, Manisha. One, I'm not very equipped to say the statement that I'm going to say, but I'm going to say that. And the other two, I'm pretty knowledgeable to say those statements. But the first one that I would say is, on the e-commerce, and Nikhil mentioned those 3 points, and I'm not going to repeat those three. But one of the points that if I pick up from him is the discount. I would love to see is what happens to the customers when the discount goes away. Today you have an American institutional investor who's supporting that discount. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not saying that e-commerce is going to disappear. I'm only putting a statement that it'll be interesting to see what finally happens. Because one thing that I can tell you is that Indian consumer is very discerning. They will come for a bargain. I mean, many people will remember Pizza Express in its first avatar when it came in. This was 97, 98. Mr. Modi had got him in at that time. Did not succeed because Pizza Hut made sure that the moment you took a larger pizza, they gave a smaller pizza or they gave Coke free or Pepsi free. As a result of which Indian consumer went in there and never went to a Pizza Express. So that's the first point that it'll be interesting. I think we're just in the start of that evolution. The second point that, Manisha, I'm going to make is that, malls shut down and India, they shut down. I don't think it was e-commerce. It's just that both of them have happened at the same time. And we're just thinking it's because of the e-commerce. Many people ask me, is that because of e-commerce? They were poor malls. They were strata title, poor mall management, no maintenance, no management, no footfalls. They were not promoting the malls itself. As a result of it, they shut down. It wasn't the 2% of e-commerce that would have impacted that. And the third is absolutely correct. I think malls will have to seduce people. They'll have to do seduction. In that. That's why people will come in. I don't think so. Malls are also going to remain in the same avatar. So it'll have to have a smell, feel, touch, look. You will have to seduce that consumer to come to you. And that's when the consumer is going to draw out. Also, I think several of these products will change. Whilst I agree with Rajneesh on the books, but books will shrink, will change. Electronics will change. Footwear will reduce. Some of these will get dramatically impacted, and you will have to bring in seduction. You'll have to bring in wine, champagne, all sorts of things in the mall to be able to make it, continue to make it relevant.
All right. So my question is, Bhavik, how will the online world seduce once the deep discounting goes away? Is it all going to be about convenience? And because it's such a traffic jam, I still need my app. I'd rather just order a lot of things which don't need that experience online? So
convenience is and have to be the only way to acquire customer. It cannot be discounts because it eventually hits the business bottom line. So why isn't it
stopping? Why is it that it's so exciting to keep quoting the GMV numbers? I mean, it's a lot of online shopping portals are very happy actually if you return the T-shirt 5 times. Yeah, because it just clocks 5 times sales and 5 times GMV.
So the online marketplaces are very happy about it, but ask the retailers, ask the brands who are doing this 5-time reverse logistics. These costs are not bared by online marketplaces. It's bared by the final retailer who is doing this reverse logistics, assuming that he'll make money out of this transaction. He rightly mentioned 24% of reverse logistics is actually more than putting a retail store out there. Coming back to your question about convenience, there's so many things. It's a small thing that we are trying to do. So find a store near you, you reserve a product, you want to pick it up, integrate an Uber. So if you're talking about traffic, okay, be in the car, the Uber has been sponsored by the mall or a retailer to get you to the store because already committed business to them. We are integrating playlists. So while you are in Uber, play your own cloud-based playlist right from my app. While you are in store, queue your playlist, play in the store as well while you're shopping. So if it's all about convenience and experience, there's so many things that you can innovate through technology. While you are still retaining the immediate gratification pace, you are saving hugely on the reverse logistics because he's coming to the store, he can return the product. While he's coming in the store, there's huge amount of opportunity to cross-sell. Impulse shopping happens in store. It cannot happen online. While we all probably think that online is all about impulse shopping, it's not. When I go online, I precisely know that I need this phone, so I go to online, I compare 3 prices and buy. When I go to mall, I'm not knowing that I want phone. I just enter into a phone store, I like a phone, and I end up buying it. So it's not going to happen, convenience, impulse shopping, small gratifications that you can extend, yes, technology can 100% enhance it, and that's where all the 4,000 square feet guys will have to look at, that how we really use 4-inch to ensure the convenience of client.
Shiva, just to get your opinion on this whole transition from brick and mortar to online, I mean, which is what your brand has done. What do you feel? I mean, here we were discussing this question and I wanted to ask you, so here you have Trendin, where you retail all of Madra Fashion offerings. You also have supply through Flipkart, and you say right now you have a little bit more coming through Flipkart than through your own Trendin. My question to you is, how do you actually combat them when deep discounts are happening? How do you fight that battle of discounting? And of course, also of the returns, this whole game which is happening in.
So one thing is, I don't fight. Because we know, so the way we have built these brands is, our endeavor has always been that we stay relevant where the consumer is shifting, right? When none of the apparel brands in this country were extensively or heavily investing behind EBOs, Madura came out and invested behind Louis Philippe stores or the EBOs. The belief was that, while the consumers would like to shop at trade partners or the small retailers where we sell, they would also like to have this experience of the brand retail experience through exclusive branded outlets. The idea for Trendin, and so by that philosophy, extending that philosophy, we in Flipkart or Myntra and Jabong will remain to exist. At the same time, Trendin would also. But look at it from the next 10 to 15 year horizon. We believe that, we are moving to a connected world where the consumer would be connected with our products in a way which probably today looks very, very futuristic. It's like we believe that, tomorrow the shirt will talk to the pant. Pant will talk to the shoes. Right? Shoes will talk to the belt. That means if I am eating too much, the belt will send a signal that stop. Well, today it looks very, very futuristic, but that's going to happen. In that connected world, what is most important for us is understanding the consumer. And the best way to understand consumer is if we are in digital world. Very actively chasing that consumer to convert. It's a brand philosophy, right? So we would like to understand the consumer, and in that journey, the evolution has been so fast. 2.5 years back when we launched Trendin, we thought that, website is enough, plus a mobile site is enough. 6 months down the line, we realized that, the traffic is moving to apps. And 12 months, I started pushing the organization that we need to have an app. We need to build that ecosystem. They said, we have not even stabilized desktop, and we are not hitting that. I said, that's the mindset which we need to change. If you are in digital, you're chasing a moving target. You're chasing the consumer, right? So mobile came in. Now mobile opens up a larger ability to understand the consumer. The app ecosystem enables us. Now that's what we are looking at. So if you really look at 10 to 15 years down the line, what our own site, our own insights into consumers can give us, it's tremendous. And that's how, proof of that is MyFit, right? Which Vanusin launched along with Trendin. So everything is fulfilled at Trendin. But Vanusin came in from a deeper understanding of last 15 years of the consumers that Indian male require in-between sizes, which none of the regular ready-made apparel guys make it. Now that gets fulfilled because we have a very robust online channel going through Trendin, because we service to 20,000 pin codes. Now that's the ability which going forward gets harnessed by brands. And so that way, if you look at physical, digital merge in a way. But digital provides a far deeper insight into the consumer, which is not available today with the retailers.
Absolutely. I think, just in a conversation that we were having with the panelists in the speaker's room, I was like, why would anybody have more than 10 apps on their phones? And I was told that youngsters today, clearly I'm 40 plus and therefore I do not believe in more than 10 apps, but youngsters today have 50 apps and they every day download and every day delete, and therefore they may have a Flipkart and a Trendin app together. All right, I think I'm going to throw open the floor for questions to the panelists, if anybody has anything or even insights, because here we have a very evolved audience. Everyone's trying to battle that big question, and of course, everyone who's about 25 already has a plan to launch an e-commerce business. None of them are opening retail malls, so we are probably the few ones, Nikhil, Anuj, in that business, Rajneesh, and I would also call myself on that side of the business. But any questions, we are happy to take them.
Anybody in the panel can choose to answer this question. And good evening to all. Now, the Indian consumer is a very emotional animal, and emotion drives his purchase. And the emotion could be look and feel, and the entire experience. And a purchase is also a social experience. It has to be a tangible sensory experience for an Indian consumer. Now, online is impersonal. Online can only initiate the thought of a purchase. But the Indian consumer would still like to go to the brick and mortar, the shop, see, touch, feel, and buy that product. Your thoughts on it? I'm talking about the coexistence of both the platforms.
I think both the channels have advantages. Today I can go to a mall, shop, and if I want him to deliver that product to my native place, to my parents, it won't happen. So if I have to gift something to my native place as a consumer, and this is very specific to me as a consumer, not all consumers, because everybody has a unique need. I go to online, I know a standard product from a brand, I know the size. I bill it to my address, I ship it to my parents' address, and I'm happy, they are happy. But when it comes to indulgence, it comes to look and feel, though, today we are so let me give you an example. How many brands died while opening first 15 stores? Very few. How many brands struggled after opening 15 stores? A lot. The scale changes. The nature of the business changes. So how many, similarly, the minute your e-commerce scales up, there are new issues which are going to come up. There are new challenges which are going to come up. And how you as an organization, company manage those challenges and come out as a winner will decide how many of them will survive. So scale brings lot of challenges, and it needs you to fine tune many, many times. And it brings in and takes out many, many conveniences, as was discussed, that will be able to return goods as conveniently. So things will happen, both will coexist, both will find their own relevance to the consumer and to the consumption.
Well, we have Mall of India, which is opening in November in Noida, which is the largest in South Asia. And that'll be a story to actually track, isn't it, Anuj, in terms of this whole competition happening? You're talking about malls not opening, but a well-run mall, whether that will actually break the mold and be able to grow. So that's something we should closely keep an eye on.
Absolutely, Manisha. And I think if you were to speak with some of the successful retailers who are here, they will tell you is that in the good run malls, the rentals have started to go up. And they're very supportive of the rentals to go up because they're making money on those malls. So you're absolutely right. Mall of India is in that genre where we're going to see that there's going to be effective sales happening, and retailers should be happy. Just to continue with that question, there will be products which you will have it on the online. So white shirt is a white shirt. I mean, I'm quite happy to buy it online, or a potato or a tomato, I'm quite happy to buy it online, or even for that matter, a book or music, happy to do that. But there'll be several other where I do want to touch and feel. And Manisha mentioned this earlier, the luxury products. I do want to touch and feel. I'm not going to pay 100,000 rupees for one of the branded stuff to just be bought online. If that was the case by now, America and Europe would have shut all the malls. I mean, they have been in this e-commerce much longer than what we have been. The trouble is that our organized retail just started to prosper, and the onslaught of e-commerce came in. That's why it is so relevant in India. When I go to America, when I go to Europe, I sit in the retail board meetings of JLL. I am the global chair of JLL Retail. We don't talk about e-commerce. It isn't. And I just asked them, I said, you don't think there is a threat? They're like, no, they will coexist. That's it. For the last 1 decade, they've coexisted. You walk on the Fifth Avenue, walk on Oxford Street, they're doing fantastically well. Many of the retailers have gone online. And so it's a mixture of both.
was one yes gentleman
yeah.
at the back.
I'm Rajiv. This question is for Mr. Anuj Puri. On the real estate front, how has been your experience with real estate marketing online?
Real estate experience?
Online real estate marketing.
So it's a very interesting topic, and we're also looking at it and seeing is that how much of the onslaught of the online e-commerce is going to happen onto the real estate. Clearly on the residential side there has been, and more so in mature markets you would see that there are aggregators who've come in and who've been very successful on the online. But they have been very successful on the online to pick up a demand, to pick up a lead. But ultimately, to close that lead, we're still finding that you need someone physical to be able to go out, because you're not going to buy, 1 crore house just on online. You want to actually go and see. So we're seeing that the lead generation is happening on the online, but actually the transactions aren't happening as much on the online. Sorry, I didn't understand that.
There are some companies who have already started online sales, online marketing, but their experience has not been too good as of date.
Yeah, and I'll say it's early days. I won't say that we need to write them off. I do believe that there is a product, there is a philosophy, there is a business case to do that. But I dare say that it is going to be an end-to-end solution. It is a solution to provide a lead, and it is very important in a real estate business. But ultimately, I do not believe that the online can provide a full end-to-end service unless the online is doing a physical accommodation for the customer as well.
Good evening, sir. This is Arvind, and we are in manufacturing of wafer biscuits. So, as you said that it is not the online thing, it is location, location, location. And you said white shirt is white shirt. Now, we manufacture biscuits, and as long as customer comes to the factory and orders comes to the factory, so we are very happy that either they pick up or somebody else pick up or whatever happens. Now, there are two trends, and these are two things which I want to understand with you. That A, when drones will become so cheap, in Europe there are so many drones, and nowadays when you see in the marriages that camera goes, so everybody will keep 5 drones and 10 drones with a path feeded in it, that you go and pick up biscuits from Ravi Food and pick up this grocery from that retailer or the farmer, and you come back home. Now, the total mediator, because white shirt is white, so you pick up white shirt from XYZ. So this total medium of retailers or traders, where it will go. And second, if technology will become so smart and the clones will come, steam cells will come, so we have to have conference to develop human beings, and how we all will exist.
So I think I'll tell you. You have merit in your thought. When I remember somebody telling that if human mind can think, that can be a reality.
No, I tell you one thing about this. If consumer is buying so many drones, because each one wants a drone to go pick biscuit, and then you need a second one to go pick bread, the malls will sell drone. Where will you go to buy drones?
Yeah. So, see.
What stops me to have a department store selling drones which can lift 50 gram of biscuit to a 50 kg of rice or something, No. The consumer requirement is served through channel, and that's what will happen.
That's great. See, somewhere I was reading that in coming generations, pharmacy will be very big business, drones and artificial intelligence will be very big business, and these mediators and these businesses will have less value and less time. So this came in my mind because I come from a Haryana village, and there are so many people I meet, they have never seen a village, and 70% of India lives in villages. And when I interact with these guys and then I go back home and I meet my cousin who is a wrestler and who has just bought a Chinese phone, so there is a hell of difference.
Absolutely.
So these human beings are better human beings than what we are today.
And the best part is we all eat biscuits. I'm going to wrap out here. We've run out of time, but this discussion actually is much wider than what we've covered in this half hour. And Anuj will continue to lead another round of discussion on this topic. Let me just run you through